Welcome to BQ Prime, and we are at the Aero Show and at Lockheed Martin stall, and we have Mr. William Blair, CEO India. William, thank you very much for joining us on BQ Prime. To begin with, you are showcasing two of your fighter jets, F-21 and F-35. What's there for offering to India?
Well, right here you can see the F-21 that we're offering for the multi-role fighter aircraft requirement. 114 aircraft for the Indian Air Force. We're awaiting the RFP for that as well. And so you see the F-16 flying. This is a derivative. This is a more advanced version specific to the Indian MRFA requirements that we have on offer. You can see the triple missile launcher adapter, conformal fuel tanks, probe and drogue capability, very specific to the Indian requirements for the MRFA. And so we're excited, and we're looking forward to, an RFP possibly later this year to be able to offer that capability.
How is it, in initial phase, you were trying to give us F-16s, and then now you moved to F-21.
Well,
So how the both, what's the difference between both the aircrafts which you're offering?
Well, actually, I mean, you're remembering the first round of the multi-role or MMRCA, as we know, right? And we were offering the F-16 back in that time. But as the requirements have evolved, and we've integrated some fifth-gen capabilities into the cockpit interface, and I mentioned triple missile launcher adapter, some of the other unique capabilities, probe and drogue, which we were offering before as well, and the AESA radar. In terms of when you look at the complete package, it's a much more capable aircraft. And of course, we're taking and working with the U.S. government and the foundational agreements we have that have really brought us, to a different point now 10 years later, more than 10 years later from when we initially offered the F-16 Block 70, I think, at that time.
The relationship between India and US has grown so large, and there's a lot of military collaboration now coming in.
Right.
There is another aircraft which you are offering, C-130.
Yeah.
Used in India, if I'm
Well,
not.
it's tremendous. I mean, the C-130J is a great example. We started a partnership with between Lockheed Martin Aeronautics and Tata Advanced Systems Limited, and now they're called Tata Aerospace and Defense, to produce the tail of the C-130J, not just for the 12 aircraft for India, but for the global requirement. We've now produced well over 180, probably over 190 of the C-130J empennages, and that Tata Lockheed Martin Aerostructures Limited is the sole source for the global requirement. We deliver those to Marietta, Georgia.
I've seen that facility myself in Hyderabad, and it's a magnificent facility. What is the kind of order book that you have for this kind of facility, for this aircraft, and for the Indian Air Force? Do you see a big order coming in or requirement coming in?
Yeah, we see a significant backlog for the C-130J, and that's the catalyst that keeps driving the growth in Tata Lockheed Martin Aerostructures Limited. But the hundreds of suppliers, the MSMEs that feed into that empennage and the tail is about 87% indigenous content in the tail itself, and we're investing to increase that. Now, you asked about the the medium transport aircraft, the MTA here in India. We're responding to an RFI to the Indian Air Force. They're looking at what's going to replace the AN-32s, and so we see an RFI for 40, 60, and 80 aircraft, and we're looking at how can we bring our best solution. And what's unique here, this is a multi-role medium transport aircraft. Very high altitude, short takeoff, and landing capability in unprepared runways. You've seen that aircraft land on the UP highway with the Prime Minister. You've seen it set a world record for high altitude landing and takeoff. Absolutely critical mission capability, of course, to counter the threat that we have in this part of the world.
Another attraction in this air show is about the F-35s, which everyone is talking about.
Yes.
There's reports that showing the carrot to get F-21. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think we should be proud. I think we should be proud that Aero India 2023 is very much a global show, right? And so the U.S. Air Force decided to what planes they would bring. They brought the F-35, the F-16, and the F-21 will be an advanced derivative of that. I think it demonstrates the capability in the Indo-PACOM region. And we should always remember, Aero India is intended to be a global show. We're marketing not just to India. We're, as countries, we're looking at what's the level deterrent that's required in this part of the world. So we're excited to see that capability being demonstrated here.
Bill, 10 years ago, we were just an emerging ecosystem for aerospace and defense. You've been here with various partners, various SMEs.
Right.
How have you seen this entire ecosystem expand with respect to supply chain, logistics? And is India today ready to build its own aircraft, all made in India?
Well, I think what's important is you've seen really strong partnerships emerge. We established our two joint ventures with Tata 13 years ago, and that was a catalyst not just for Tata to produce the C-130J empennage or the S-92 cabin, 157 S-92 cabins. It was a catalyst for the MSMEs, the suppliers, hundreds of suppliers, well over 100 MSMEs that feed into that. That ecosystem is very robust now. We also launched India Innovation Growth Program, working with startups. And we've been, mentoring and accelerating and been a catalyst to engage startups, not just in aerospace and defense. That's created since 2007 under our IIGP program, over $1 billion worth of value creation with those startups.
I understand that you have some tie with Garuda Aerospace for
Yeah.
drones as well,
So with Garuda Aerospace, that's an initiative with one of our business units in Canada for a commercial application, I think, for agriculture. So they rolled that out, I think, at Def Expo.
What else is an offer for India from your end?
Well, come on over here. I'll show you. We've got
The Javelin.
we've got the Javelin. This is our Javelin model. We oftentimes will have a demonstrator, and very well known, world class capability in terms of an anti tank guided missile. You're seeing it more and more in use with Putin's war, the Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and you're seeing how effective that is. But the way I look at Javelin in a complement to other capabilities that the Indian Army has and what DRDO is developing, it's another arrow in the quiver, right? What capability you need, and I think there's an opportunity to have a spectrum of capabilities when you think about an anti-tank guided missile. So we have this on offer for the mechanized forces when they're looking at the wheeled AFV, the mounted version, and also for the FICV, and as well the dismounted version for an infantry application. So we would love to work with an Indian partner, as we are at the platform level for the mechanized forces, to be able to find a way to bring Javelin to India. And we had offered this well over a decade ago to actually co-produce, co-develop that here at that time. Had we reached that agreement, we would have been producing Javelins today to meet a global requirement. But the point is this is still a very capable and relevant capability in complement to what India also has.
There's another thing which is on offer, which is basically the heavy lift helicopter, right?
Yes.
That's not means you're not offering it as of now, but it's something which can come in the future.
Yeah. So if I could show you, a range of helicopters. So let's start with what we're delivering and inducting today. Right here, the MH-60 Romeo. That's being inducted by the Indian Navy. World-class, most capable anti-submarine, anti-surface warfare capability. The first three aircraft were delivered in San Diego only 14 months from the contract signing in early 2020. Broke a record. This is a foreign military sale, but in partnership with the Indian Navy and the U.S. Navy.
How many years?
Total of 24 helicopters is part of that deal. And then we're also supporting that in Kochi today. So the first three helicopters were delivered in San Diego for training of both the pilots and the maintainers. First three aircraft have now been delivered last year into India and Kochi. And so we're supporting that with our field service engineers hand in hand. Here's the S-76D. This S-76D has been inducted in a VVIP configuration with Bajaj, but it's also been inducted with Hub and Hans for offshore oil and gas. And I come to know, I think they're operating in Andaman Nicobar Islands right now. And so a tremendously capable VVIP helicopter, offshore oil and gas.
Built in India as well.
Well, actually, that's where I would like to show you the S-92. We would like to build that helicopter in India, yes. But I think our best example over here is the S-92. So the S-92 is, we're producing those cabins here in India with Tata through our Tata Sikorsky relationship. So they produced 157 cabins to date, and that's a perfect medium helicopter for when you start to think about a MIL 17 replacement. When you think about again offshore oil and gas, the next size up from an S-76D VVIP helicopter. That's the helicopter that's being implemented now with the presidential helicopter in the U.S.
What about the S-76D?
I mentioned the S-76D, but over here we've got the CH-53K. The CH-53K is a heavy lift helicopter. You can see it's in the colors of Germany. Israel and Germany have committed to that helicopter. This is the most capable heavy lift helicopter. We see a future need, a future requirement for that here in India, and that's why we're displaying it here. And we also have a kind of a cockpit demonstrator of that. Now, what's important to note on all of these platforms, we already have suppliers that are making components that go on these various platforms. So we have several suppliers, and one here in Bangalore, Sasmos is producing components that integrate into the CH-53K. So it's very important. We want to bring our best capabilities, but do that with and through, when we can, local partners here in India.
So over the last 13, 14 years, you've been in India.
Yes.
How big is the India business for you today?
Oh, I mean, it's huge. We see, what we're delivering today with C-130Js globally. The MH-60 Romeo inducted into the Indian Navy that I mentioned, the future requirements for the fighter, the medium transport aircraft, and the range of helicopters that we're talking about, it's tremendous. And I think the future is, when we talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India, we have to look at it through the lens of how do we partner. It's not about 100% indigenous content. It's about integrating, the best capabilities with local partners, deliver that to India, but also position for exports. That's where the value is.
Are you working towards that in a way that it's going to be produced and assembled fully in India? Because today we are only putting subsystems and assemblies which have been sent across, and they've been assembled somewhere else. One of the key themes of Atmanirbhar Bharat is to produce in India,
Correct.
manufacture in India.
Correct.
So are you willing to set up your facility in India for that?
Well, I mean, a great example is the medium role fighter aircraft. We're anxious to see an RFP, hopefully later this year. That'll allow us to make our commitment to build that aircraft here to meet the Indian requirement, 114 aircraft. The catalyst for Make in India and self-reliant India are going to be these requirements being rolled out and affording opportunities for foreign OEMs like ourselves, who actually have operations already through partnerships in India, to take it to the next level, to the full aircraft level, whether it's for fighter aircrafts, transport aircraft, or helicopters.
Well, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for joining us on BQ Prime today.
No, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good.